presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
A big win in Detroit last night snapped an ugly 11-game road streak for the Twins, and tonight they look for another W in Game 3 as the 4-game series continues. Every game counts for this Detroit team that is right in the thick of things in the wild card hunt, sitting just a game and a half back of Toronto for that final spot. Welcome to Comerica Park, everyone. I'm Audra Martin. Last night, the Twins picked up just their 3rd win over Detroit this season, but they did it in dominating fashion. Kyle Gibson held this dangerous lineup to just 1 run, and from there, the Twins' bats took care of the rest. The 8 runs they scored last night were thanks in large part to huge nights from Jorge Polanco and Kenny Vargas. Polanco was just a triple shy of the cycle, and his 4 runs driven in marked a career-high night that also included his first long ball from the right side of the plate. But he wasn't the only one with a 3-hit night. Kenny Vargas followed in suit with a trio of his own, marking his first 3-hit game of the season. Since being recalled earlier this month, he's hitting .357 and can add to it tonight with another start at first base. Well, coming up, the Twins hope last night will carry over, but a lot of that depends on Tyler Duffy. Dick Bremer and Burt Blyleven break down the tough task ahead next on Fox Sports North.
Fox Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Ram. Get power you can depend on at Ram Power Days. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the everyday competitor in all of us.
Tonight, the Twins try to make it 2 in a row over the Tigers. They played pretty well here at Comerica Park recently, having won 3 of the last 4 games. And it'll be Tyler Duffy going for the Minnesota Twins, and another right-hander who has struggled this year, Anibal Sanchez, going for Detroit. And And we welcome you to Comerica Park. Dick and Burt with you for Game 3 of this 4-game series. Last night was a good ball game for the Minnesota Twins. Within the victory, probably the key for Kyle Gibson last night, and the key for Tyler Duffy tonight, if he's going to have some success, controlling the middle of the Detroit lineup.
Yeah, you know what? The middle of the lineup for the Detroit Tigers, of course, you have Cabrera, you have Martinez, you have J.D. Martinez. So, yeah, I mean, what they have done against Duffy so far in his four major league starts, they've done very, very well. 14 hits in 30 at-bats. They have scored 10 runs. They've driven in only 4 runs. So it's very, very important for Duffy tonight. Okay, he struggled against them. Get Kinsler and Maben out first.
And you can see the numbers against right-handed batters not good at all for Tyler Duffy, and he'll face some of the league's best here tonight. He has had some success against the Tigers, however. 3 of his 4 starts against Detroit in his brief major league career have been very good starts. He'll hope to get some run support, as Kyle Gibson did last night. See if the Twins can win 2 in a row against the Tigers. Afternoon, another beautiful night for baseball. Tigers might be heading someplace postseason wise. The Twins are not, but they're taking on teams that have designs on the postseason, some incentive to derail their playoff hopes. And the Twins with one of their better wins of the year last night. They pitched well, they fielded well, got some clutch hits. Paul Molitor has seen his team overall now 7th in the American League in runs scored, and a lineup that seems to be producing better as the season wears along. Here's the Menards batting order for tonight. Brian Dozier leading off, Jorge Polanco batting second, Max Kepler, Kenny Vargas, Kurt Suzuki, Eduardo Escobar, Robbie Grossman, Logan Schaefer, and Byron Buxton.
And for the 3rd time this year, Anibal Sanchez will be making a start against the Twins. What they're looking for out of Sanchez, he's had a very inconsistent year. The 11-year veteran might be having his worst year at the major league level. The 7-13, very high ERA, but he is 1-1 against the Twins. Both the starts against the Twins have been quality starts.
2 of his 6 quality starts on the season. Northland Ford defense for the Tigers. Justin Upton back in the lineup in left field. Cameron Maben in center, and J.D. Martinez in right. Andrew Romine, Jose Iglesias, Ian Kinsler, Miguel Cabrera around the infield. James McCann back behind the plate.
Yeah, Sanchez back in July here ended up losing 6-2, but he gave up only 3 runs in 6 innings, a quality start. And then in Minnesota on the 23rd of August, he gave up 3 runs in 7 innings and won that ball game 8-3.
And Brian Dozier getting ready to lead things off, bringing a career high 17-game hitting streak into tonight's game. First pitch fouled back.
And that's what Sanchez will try to do. He'll try to establish that fastball. Very good at changing speeds. He has an outstanding slider and a very good changeup. You know, Sanchez struggled so much this year in April and May. They put him into bullpen for the month of June and then put him back in rotation in July. There's a good slider right there.
0-2. Sanchez, like Duffy, seems to have more difficulty with right-handed batters than left.
Yeah, right-handers hitting 309 off of him, left-handers 266.
Fouled back just beneath us. And Duffy's kind of got the same thing going. Last night when Kyle Gibson pitched against the Tigers, he's really struggled with left-handed batters, and Duffy, as similar as his career path has been, he's got just the opposite problem this year. And Sanchez similarly having problems with right-handers. 0-2. Just missing. It's one of the reasons why the Twins don't have Rosario in the lineup, for instance.
Well, Brian's had a tough time against Sanchez. There are numbers right there. 15 of his 25 home runs to right-handed hitters. The opponent's hitting 287 overall against him. Brian Dozier, 4 hits and 26 at-bats. He does have a home run against Sanchez.
2-2. Paul Molitor was talking about the preference of having some right-handed bats in there. Some of the young, inexperienced left-handed batters like Rosario tend to expand the strike zone against a wily veteran like Sanchez. And Dozier strikes out to start the ball game.
That might have been the changeup right there. And Sanchez, who is a strikeout pitcher, picks up his first strikeout. You see him kissing the baseball right there. It's almost like a split finger. That ball drops straight down. Looks like a fastball, and then the bottom fell out of it.
If I could make a baseball do that, I might kiss it too. 1 down, now Polanco.
That's his 122nd strikeout in 143 innings pitched, but over his career, he's averaged about 8 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Strike on the outside corner.
Polanco had a great night at the plate last night. Drove in 4 of the 7 runs, excuse me, 8 runs the Twins put on the board.
Took a strike, swung through the second pitch, and it's quickly 0-2.
Hit his 2nd home run of the year in last night's ball game as a right-handed hitter. He has one also from this side of the plate. And good numbers against the Tigers in the first 8 games.
First at bat against Sanchez, and he's behind 0-2. And called third strike. 2 down, and that'll bring up Kepler.
Sanchez has been around a long time. He's almost like an artist out there. He's got to hit his spots, and he does right there, even though, well, that one better than number 2, but good frame right there by McCann. And Sanchez picks up his 2nd straight strikeout.
2 away, number 3 hitter tonight, Max Kepler. Outside, ball 1.
Max struggling at the plate a little bit. 0 for his last 10.
1-1. And the average down now into the 230s. And fouled away.
Sanchez in his delivery has a little timing mechanism that he kind of turns his hip a little bit, keeps that weight over the mound a little bit longer, allows that arm to catch up. 5th season with the Tigers, 32-year-old right-hander.
1-2. And 3 strikeouts in the first inning for Anibal Sanchez. Night last night, didn't play particularly well, didn't pitch well, dropped a game in the wild card standings, but they're still in it. And we've got 2.5 weeks or so to go. The Menards batting order for the Tigers tonight. Ian Kinsler, of course, leading off. Cameron Maybin, Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, J.D. Martinez. Justin Upton back in there hitting 6th, and James McCann, Andrew Romine, and Jose Iglesias.
That'd be 25-year-old Tyler Duffy. He's leading the staff in wins with 8 and losses with 11, trying to pick up his 9th win here tonight.
Mentioned he's had some success against the Tigers. Beat them twice in September last year, both well-pitched ball games, and had a well-pitched game against the Tigers back at the end of April, but there was a costly Eduardo Nunez error that allowed 3 unearned runs to score early, and the Twins couldn't make that deficit up. Just 1 earned run, though, in 6 1/3 innings.
Well, we showed you the numbers in our opening with the 3, 4, 5 hitters of the Tigers, so it's important that he gets Kinsler and Maybin out.
Left center field, headed towards the gap, and that'll land on the edge of the track. Kinsler starts the ball game with a double.
Yeah, it's easier said than done because Kinsler, I think, is one of the best in baseball as far as leading off. He has a very good average, 277, his 26th double right there, leads off this ball game. He also has 26 home runs. You can see the fastball came running right back in. Suzuki wanting it away, and right into that hit zone, the swing zone, and Kinsler doesn't miss it.
Schaefer with the retrieve on the warning track, and now Cameron Maybin. 2 of the game's best there, Kinsler and Dozier.
Gonna take the bunt away right here, just in case Maybin thinking about advancing the runner over to third base.
Thought about it, took a strike.
Well, every club likes to get on the board first. Maybin has 2 sacrifices on the year. His job is to get Kinsler over to third or score him by hitting over toward the right side.
Inside now, 1-1. Chop foul. We showed you the 3 poor starts that Duffy's given the Twins right after he gave the Twins a couple of really good ones. And I think, although they're different type of pitchers, we can see kind of the same career path for Duffy as we've seen from Kyle Gibson.
Backhand at 2-2.
Well, I think what set Duffy down were those 2 starts, one against Kansas City and then that one against the Tigers in Minnesota back on the 24th of August. In Kansas City, he gave up 5 runs in 3 2/3 innings, and then against the Tigers, working 3 innings, he gave up 6 runs. So the Twins sent him back to Rochester, where he made a couple starts.
And that's a base hit by Maben, and the Tigers will jump out in front. Buxton fires towards second base. Not in time. Back-to-back doubles and a quick 1-0 lead for Detroit.
Yeah, double puts the Tigers up 1-0. Maben driving in his 37th run. So a tough start already for Tyler Duffy. Fastball in, that's where he wanted it, but Maben opened up quickly and found that same gap that Kinsler found.
Last night, Miguel Cabrera in his first at bat drove in what would turn out to be the only Tiger run. The 3, 4, and 5 batters against Gibson last night were 2 for 12. There's a first pitch strike. And Duffy, especially after giving up a pair of doubles right away, he'd like to be able to control the middle of this Detroit lineup.
Cabrera having a 309 typical 300 type hitter.
That ball skipped toward Dozier on the play. Maben goes to third. Ball looked like it hit the lip of the grass or did something to make it jump up in the air after hitting the ground. 1 down. Martinez. Victor will hit the Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Schaefer, Buxton, Kepler the outfielders. Escobar, Polanco, Dozier, Vargas the infielders. And Kurt Suzuki behind the plate.
Cabrera getting high fives in the dugout, doing his job, getting Maben over to third base. I was watching Cabrera take batting practice. Seemed like everything he was shooting to right field. He hardly hit anything to left field. Everything up the middle toward right field.
His home run the other night was a line drive slicing into the seats in right field. Corner infielders up. Maben runs well at third base. The middle infielders playing back for Victor Martinez. Chopped foul.
Yeah, what Duffy needs right here, hopefully, is a strikeout. 102 strikeouts for Tyler Duffy and 121 innings pitched.
Victor has struck out 82 times in 509 at bats. Gibson got him last night. Typically, we haven't seen Martinez strike out very much. And a changeup gets a swing and a miss. 0-2.
Yeah, Victor Martinez against Duffy, 5 hits in 10 at bats.
Duffy's strikeout pitch is his breaking ball, right?
You have to go underneath the swing, kind of like Gibson did to Martinez last night. It has to be down and in if they're going to throw that.
Good one down and in.
That looked like a changeup right there. Gibson threw him a slider down and in that Martinez swung through last night. The final batter that Gibson faced in the 8th inning.
2 strikes now, and the Twins bring the infield all the way in. Up and away.
It's not an overpowering fastball. That fastball at 92. So Tyler Duffy has to hit his spots. A lot of times you can tell that by the way Kurt Suzuki moves around. He wants another fastball up in the strike zone.
Foul back. They were trying to commiserate with Paul Molitor after his session with the media today because the questions are valid questions, but the answer gets to be repetitive at times. What does fill in the blank have to do to have success tonight? And the answer is always control the fastball, whether it's Duffy, Gibson, Barrios, Santiago,
Santana.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
Another chopper foul.
There's that curveball down and in, and Martinez fouled it off.
Irvin Santana's done the best job of that, of course, and that's why he's considered to be the staff ace. And if Duffy and Gibson are ever going to be top of the rotation type guys, they have to do a better job of that.
Gibson did well with that last night. 1-2 to Victor Martinez. Got the strikeout, 2 down.
A big strikeout right there after back-to-back doubles, a ground ball out and then a strikeout for Duffy. And he went back to the breaking ball and picked up a big strikeout for the second out. Good curveball straight down. And Duffy throwing strikes, 16 pitches, 13 strikes.
JD Martinez with 2 down.
Tell you what, this guy was a good pickup by the Tigers.
Chopper, that's a foul ball. Escobar was ready to fire across the diamond, but third base umpire Sam Holbrook said it was foul.
JD Martinez, 29 years old. He was let go by the Houston Astros back in 2014 and signed with the Tigers. He was drafted by the Twins back in 2006 out of high school and decided to go on to college. 36th round by the Twins, the 2006 draft.
One and one. JD Martinez came to Detroit and they put him in a lineup surrounded by veteran hitters. Took all the pressure off JD Martinez, and that's one of the reasons he's blossomed here. Now he's as dangerous as anybody. Check to swing, 2-1.
Duffy has 2 types of fastballs, the 4-seamer, then the 2-seamer. He'll run in on right-handers. I thought Gibson did a good job against JD Martinez last night by busting him inside.
Swing on a foul, 2-2. Duffy, of course, doesn't need a strikeout. He just needs to get Martinez out. Over 100 strikeouts and less than 400 at bats. Pitch number 21 for Tyler Duffy.
Curveball here.
Taken for ball 3. Justin Upton on deck.
Yeah, Duffy from time to time will fly open, and that breaking ball will be down and away. Threw a very good one to Martinez, Victor Martinez, to strike him out. They're going to go back to it, see if it's a better one.
Bounce to third. Juggled by Escobar, and he picked it up and threw him out. Well, the inning started with a couple of doubles. The Tigers got one, but Duffy did a nice job limiting them to that. Cardinals will lead off the second. He's the subject of our Toyota Key stat tonight. And study these numbers closely as you look at his That bat to home run ratio, how it's improved from 2014 to this year. Look at the bottom number. He rarely now swings at the first pitch, and he's giving an indication of being a young hitter who is learning how to hit. You don't have to swing at the first pitch all the time. And so he takes a strike. Vargas, Suzuki, and Escobar.
Yeah, Vargas 0 for 7 against Sanchez. See if they can pick up his first hit against him here.
3 strikeouts for Sanchez in the first. That floats down and away.
But you know what? I think when you're a strong young kid like Vargas, you come up for the first time a couple years ago, you want to impress. And how do you do that? By swinging a bat early.
Yes.
Kind of a half swing right there.
Remember, Vargas 2 years ago was called up from Double-A. Didn't even stop at Triple-A. All the more reason why he's a little eager when he stood in the batter's box. On the outside corner, 4 strikeouts to start the night for Anibal Sanchez.
The second called third strike, almost the same pitch that Polanco was called out on for the second out of the first inning.
That's inches outside.
Carlos Torres behind the plate. Now, this umpire Torres is from Venezuela. And guess where Sanchez is from?
Conspiracy?
Yeah.
I think that's.
He's from Venezuela.
The deck is stacked.
Yeah. Kenny Vargas from Puerto Rico. We need a hitter. Well, Kurt Suzuki's from Hawaii. So here we go.
Put in play to Iglesias. 2 down. And that'll bring up Escobar. Sanchez with an early lead now. 5 up, 5 down, and Eduardo Escobar will bat.
He's always pitched well against the Twins. This is in 14 career starts against the Twins. He's 5-4, but he has a 2.63 ERA against the Twins.
A few years ago, he was the ERA champion in the American League. And a strike. Fly ball left center field. Upton over. Now in. And a 1-2-3 second. Last night's winner Kyle Gibson will join us from the dugout area when we come back. all they got, thanks to our guest from the dugout area, Kyle Gibson, who pitched one of his better ball games of the year last night in beating the Tigers. Duffy first pitch to Upton, up and away. Kyle, what was different about last night? It was apparent from the very early on that you had pretty good stuff last night.
Neil and Eddie and I worked pretty hard in my last side session on just trying to make a small mechanical adjustment to hopefully allow me to get out front a little bit more and have some consistency out front. And I noticed that I was just spinning off the ball a little bit in my side session, and not having that consistency. So talked to them a little bit, and really tried to exaggerate getting out front and really taking my chest and head toward home plate just that little extra 6 inches, and I think it turned out to help. So hopefully I can keep it going next start.
Hey, Kyle, last night I mentioned the Twins put 2 on the board right off the get-go. I know you gave 1 back right away, but you got a big double play off the bat of Victor Martinez, and then you settled down nicely. What adjustment did you make there starting the second inning on, because you only gave up 3 hits after that?
Yeah, I mean, this team here, they seem like they change their approach just about every time on me. Sometimes they're really patient, and then sometimes they just come out hacking. Last night, I thought they were going to come out a little bit more patient, and they ended up coming out swinging. Yeah. Thankfully they missed a few pitches that they probably could have hit pretty hard, so that always helps. But then I was just able to settle in there in the middle innings. Got in some trouble there in the 4th, but defense played great behind me, and whenever I needed a play, they were always there to make it.
It seemed like you and Murphy caught you last night. John Ryan Murphy, you guys were a good tandem last night. You guys worked good together.
Yeah, we had a good plan going, and Neil and John Ryan and I sat down and just wanted to work on executing the fastball first and foremost, moving that around, and then sometimes I feel like these guys have been sniffing out my off speed a little bit, so we wanted to make sure to establish that fastball and then expand the zone with 2 strikes.
Now, speaking of the off speed pitch, in the 4th inning you had bases loaded, you had Salta Lamaki up, Neil Allen went out to you, and I believe you threw him 3 straight changeups, and the 3rd one he popped up.
Yeah, I think before that in the 2 walks, 7 of the 8 balls were fastballs. So I must have just lost a slight feel of my fastball there. They weren't missing by much, but nonetheless they weren't in the zone. And John Ryan and Neil there kind of talked and said, hey, let's go to a changeup and see what Salty does. And he came out of his shoes there on the first one, and we were able to get him to swing just over the top of the second one. And Murph called a 3rd one, so I said, all right, let's go.
Flair into right field. McCann has a 1-out base hit after Upton struck out on a 3-2 pitch, and that'll bring up Andrew Romine.
Hey, Kyle, I know the season has not been the way that you thought it was going to be out of spring training. What have you learned this year compared to, say, last year? You were the Twins pitcher of the year.
Yeah, it's a tough thing, but people always say you learn a lot going through adversity, and I think that's part of what I'm trying to do this year. It has definitely been a tough year, not anything like I pictured it going, team-wise and individual-wise. But I think if you're not learning while you're struggling, then you're really just wasting your time. So I'm trying to do as much as I can to learn from some of these bad outings and rough outings, and but I'm still trying to get as deep into the game as I can. I think in 2014 when I struggled, I was out of there after 2 or 3 innings, and this year, even though I haven't been nearly as good as I'd like to be, I think I'm getting through 5 and 6 innings and getting into the 6th at least more often during my struggles. So if that's the one good thing I can take out of it, I'm going to try to sit on that.
I've referenced Kyle a couple of times about a week ago. I heard Justin Verlander in a radio interview, and he said one of the hardest lessons he had to learn was when you have a bases loaded situation like the one you were facing in the 4th inning last night, that the key to getting out of it is taking your foot off the gas rather than trying to put your foot harder on the gas. Is that maybe what we saw last night in the 4th inning?
Yeah, I think so. I think Murph kind of thought Salty was going to try to come up there and put a good swing on a fastball, and normally after 2 walks in a row, that's probably what a pitcher is going to try to do. So Murph was a step ahead of him and called for the right pitch there 3 times in a row.
1-2 to Andrew Romine. Iglesias will follow. Felt good getting out there for the 8th inning. I mentioned last night it's a feeling that as a pitcher you want to be out there late in a ball game, and you were able to do that.
Yeah, you know, I appreciate Molly letting me go back out there. Neil came up and talked to me after the 7th, and you know, I kind of thought with the 2-3-4 coming up, you know, they might go to press there or somebody, but you know, Neil came up and asked me how I felt, and I said, hey, I felt really good. And he said, you want another crack at these guys? I said, yeah, absolutely. So I came back in the dugout after the 8th inning and shook Molly's hand and held on to it for a long time, trying to talk my way into the 9th inning, but I don't think there was any way he was going to let me go back out.
Are you in favor of the pitch count? I know I sit up here and I go 100 pitches. I wish they had said 120. You threw, how many did you throw last night? 108 pitches, I believe. Yeah. I mean, you still felt like you could have gone one more.
Yeah, I still felt good. I think, you know, a pitcher has to be honest with themselves about how they're feeling and how they're executing pitches. And
little pop fly, and retreating is Escobar to make the catch, 2 down.
And at that moment, I still thought I was able to execute pitches consistently. And you know, there's definitely a time that as you get fatigued, you got to be honest with yourself and say, hey, you know, I'm just not executing right now. And really, it's in the best interest of the team to get me out of there. But no, I don't. I think it's got to go more on how the pitcher feels. And you know, I think maybe if you get to, you know, 4 or 5 outings in a row where you're getting up to 110, 115 pitches, then, you know, maybe backing off for a start or so. But you can also back off in between outings, and I think that's what I've learned most about being in September is, you know, trying to find a way in the 4 days in between starts to get as much rest and give your arm a break.
Well, keep controlling that fastball. I know that's the most important thing to you. Keep throwing the ball over the plate, and I saw you in the cage this afternoon swinging, so I know you're pitching on Sunday in New York. Good luck, buddy.
Are you saying good luck at the plate or on the mound? Which one?
No, more on the plate. I'm not worried about you on the mound. You're going to do fine, but
yeah, I haven't figured out who I'm facing yet, but the rumor is Syndergaard. So
oh boy,
we'll see how that goes.
Oh boy.
Well, as I recall, the bunting attempts didn't go too well. Maybe we'll have better luck bunting on Sunday.
Hey, he's got a couple hits. He'll be all right.
You know, I think if it was tough to bunt 96, 97 off Fulton Evans, it's probably going to be hard to bunt 99 or 100 off Syndergaard. So I'm hoping maybe I get up there with bases empty and we've already scored a bunch of runs.
Let's just hope you get 3 or 4 at bats, okay? That means you go deep into the ballgame.
I say that every time we go to interleague. If I can go 0 for 4, I'll take it every time.
Amen.
Foul ball down the line. Kyle, thanks a lot. Congratulations again last night. Go get them Sunday.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Iglesias the batter. McCann still at first. Tigers have 3 hits. Duffy did a great job in the first inning, keeping the Tigers to just the 1 run. Now he's trying to get the number 9 batter. The count 2-2.
Yeah, pitch count at 40 for Duffy. 27 have been strikes. 22 pitches in the first inning. That's one thing Kyle Gibson did a good job too. The first 3 innings he threw a total of 33 pitches.
Chopped foul. Early on though, you know, Duffy's got a really good strike to ball ratio here, better than 2-1. Gibson's wasn't all that great early on. It just seemed like his command got better as the game went along. 2-2 to Iglesias. That's a chopper up the line, foul. So the pitch count up for Duffy. Trying to dispose of Iglesias and get the Twins off the field.
That's been one issue for Tyler Duffy is the high pitch count. Iglesias went after that curveball, and that was off the plate away. You got to go back in.
And another bouncer foul.
This is where sometimes you use that 2-seam fastball, run in, get him off the plate if he's leaning out over the plate.
Two and two again.
Iglesias doesn't walk much, doesn't strike out much, puts a ball in play like that.
And he beat it out. A slow bouncer, and Polanco scooped and fired not in time, and the inning will continue.
Yeah, McCann got a pretty good jump right there too, getting into second base. A lot of times you're thinking force out at second, but McCann hustled in, slid safely into second, and Iglesias and his speed gets an infield hit.
And puts Kinsler to the plate with 2 men aboard.
See the breaking ball. Look how far he reached out for that. That's a foot outside. Nice little pick by Vargas. And it keeps McCann at second base.
Kinsler doubled to the gap in left center and then scored on Maben's double in the next at bat. Over for strike one. And now 2 strikes. Cameraman got hit in the side of the head, and he hardly even blinks. Oh, and 2. Duffy to Kinsler. And a crossfire fastball off the plate. Roller up the middle into center field. McCann will score, and the Tigers get a couple of 2-out hits to make it a 2-0 ball game. Last 2 hits haven't been hit hard at all.
Oh, but you know what? Every pitch has been away, and just like Iglesias, it looked like it was a pitch away that he just took right back up the middle. Polanco did everything he could. You see where that pitch is, down and away. You have to start busting some of these guys inside, so they don't keep leaning out over the plate. So an RBI for Kinsler, his 76th of the year on his second hit.
3 singles in the inning, a 2-0 lead, and now Maben with runners at the corners. Maben doubled into short left center field, his first time up, scoring Kinsler. Strike one.
See again, high pitch count. This will be pitch number 50.
Fastball and strike 2. No walks. 50 pitches, 36 strikes, a lot of foul balls, and 5 early hits against Duffy. Runner goes. Foul tip, and Suzuki hangs on. That'll end the inning. Duffy screams in anger after the 2-out hits produce another run. Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. Quick start for the Tigers. 1 in the first, 1 in the second, now to the third. Robbie Grossman will lead things off. Twins still looking for their first base runner against Anibal Sanchez.
Well, 6 up, 6 down for Sanchez with 4 strikeouts.
Grossman 3 for 6 against Sanchez. He'll lead off the third, and he takes strike 1. Grossman the designated hitter, then Schaefer and Buxton will bat. That's hit to center, and it's hanging in the air for Maben. A little bit of a retreat toward the gap, 1 away.
A lot of room out in center field.
1 down in the third, and September 20th is Ryder Cup night at Target Field. A limited number of Ryder Cup theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and Ryder Cup themed Twins cap. You can learn more at twinsbaseball.com/Ryder Cup or call 800-33-TWINS. Here's Logan Schaefer starting in left field tonight. And a strike on the outside corner. Well, Duffy's done a nice job throwing strikes. Then there's Sanchez. He's only thrown 23 pitches, 19 of them strikes. Popped up into the twilight here.
Got it.
And McCann never got there. Hard to see the ball from here as it went up into the twilight. And I don't know that McCann ever really got a good look at it.
Yeah, I don't think he picked it up until the last second, and he realized he was too far from it. Sanchez got over there quickly to try to help McCann, but once McCann picked it up, see, just never really saw it to where he could get underneath it.
Two strikes to Schaefer, and he'll get another strike here with the missed pop-up. Up and in, 1-2. 20 strikes, 5 balls thrown by Sanchez so far here tonight. Two and 2. Sanchez with 8 relief appearances mixed in amongst all his starts. A sign that he has not been an consistently effective starter. Foul ball. Still 2-2.
Well, in April and May, he had 11 starts. His ERA was 6.67. 3 wins, 6 losses. And the Tigers decided to just kind of take him out of that rotation for a while. In the month of June, basically all his outings were out of the bullpen. Put back into the rotation in July, and over his last 12 starts, the ERA is still 5.29. So Sanchez having a disappointing season. But, you know, he has 3 or 4 more starts, and the Tigers are in the thick of things to get into that wild card.
3-2. Schaefer having a good battle here with Sanchez. Buxton will hit next.
So what the Tigers need, they need Sanchez to step up right here.
Bounce to the right side. Cabrera gets the second hop to the bag, 2 away. Well, the Tigers have essentially a make or break weekend series coming up. If they have any hope of catching the Cleveland Indians, they've got to go to Cleveland and probably sweep the Indians. But beyond that, in the wild card race, it may turn out to be a pivotal series for them. They'll get Corey Kluber right away on Friday, with Yan Gomes expected back for the Indians. And the Indians have juggled their rotation with Michael Fulmer going to start Friday, Justin Verlander I think Saturday. So the Twins won't have to face either one of the top 2 starters for Detroit. Buxton takes a floater on the outside corner. former Twin Mike Pelfrey is going to make the start in the series finale here tomorrow afternoon. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Tonight started with Sanchez striking out the first 4 batters. The next 4 have put them in play, but none safely. And now Sanchez gets ahead of Buxton, 0-2.
And McCann sitting away.
Another called third strike. The third called third strike and a perfect first trip through the order for Anibal Sanchez.
As we head into the bottom of the 3rd inning, with Jorge Polanco's career night last night, I asked Paul Molitor today if what we've seen from him offensively has been enough to counter the work in progress defensively as far as him being the future at shortstop. And he said if I had to evaluate his defense overall, I would say that it's good. Now, the off-balance plays have certainly improved quite a bit, but it's those little plays that should be made that aren't consistently being made. Now, he said you do have to balance that with what we see at the plate. The fact that he's able to make adjustments during the game, and the fact that he never seems like he's, out of sync, or that he's able to just really understand what he needs to do at the plate. Those are characteristics you don't see a lot from young guys like him. And of course, guys, he wasn't going to commit completely to Jorge at shortstop, reminding everybody that competition is a good thing. So come spring, Jorge Polanco is going to have to show back up at spring training and show that he really does have what it takes to be a full-time shortstop.
Well, thank you, Audra. Polanco, I think the consensus is his bat will be in the lineup next. The ball driven to right, and Kepler over to make the catch, 1 away. The question is, where will Polanco play? Right now, the opening's at short, and he seems to be handling things okay there.
To me, he looks fine at short.
1 down, Victor Martinez will bat.
Hey, Twins have been looking for a long time for somebody to take over that shortstop spot. And a young man, very athletic. Hopefully he can do it.
Going back to when the Twins had some good teams and they'd bring in the likes of Orlando Cabrera, somebody to just fill in at short. They haven't had their own homegrown shortstop going back to Christian Guzman, and Guzman, of course, came over from the Yankee organization. 1 strike to Victor Martinez. It's a 2-0 Tiger lead, but Duffy got an awfully big strikeout of Martinez in the 1st inning. And he ended up stranding Cameron Maybin on the bases, giving up just the 1 run. 2 strikes to Martinez.
Nice struck out Martinez on that curveball.
Grounded foul.
Omar Vizquel, he doesn't miss
just
too
seen
many of
Omar
those.
Vizquel drop a baseball. Wow. He used to make plays like that in his sleep. Of course, he had a glove on. 0-2. One and two.
You know, we're talking to Kyle Gibson about making adjustments, and I'm watching Cabrera's at bat and here Victor Martinez. Other than the curveballs, every fastball has been away. Another breaking ball here, and another swing and miss. Strikeout number 4 for Duffy.
Too many times you got to strike out Victor Martinez in his first 2 at bats.
Good. Well, he struck him out on a good curveball in the first at bat, and this one here. That's that one I was talking about last time. Underneath a swing of a lot of left-handed hitters, and Duffy picks up his 4th.
JD Martinez will bat. Duffy could use some quick 1, 2, 3 innings.
Suzuki again sitting away.
Bouncer to short. And Polanco to Vargas. That takes care of it in a quick 1, 2, 3 inning from the 3, 4, and 5 batters of Detroit. North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. What's yours? 2-0 Tigers, game 3 of the 4-game series. We will not be televising tomorrow. And then after tomorrow's game, the Twins go to New York, and we will televise all 3 games there. Brian Dozier to lead off the 4th. Twins don't have a base runner yet against Anibal Sanchez. Dozier struck out swinging. In fact, the first 4 batters struck out against Sanchez. Here's a drive to deep left field. The Twins are on the board. Brian Dozier with number 41.
Well, he didn't waste any time on that. Looked like a breaking ball, and Dozier jumped all over it.
An 18-game hitting streak, 41st home run for Dozier, his 95th run batted in, and his 99th run scored.
Let's take a look at the pitch right here. Yeah, the breaking ball, and Brian Dozier, no doubter. I was watching Justin Upton. You see the smile, and Sanchez knew he made a mistake. Upton didn't move in left field. He just kind of spun around and watched that baby fly into the stands.
Well, a couple nights ago, Upton went back on the fence and he aggravated a calf injury trying to steal a home run from Dozier. 1-0 to Polanco. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Last night, Polanco
hit a 2-run home run. Twins hit 2 last night. Vargas added 1 later. Now Dozier's long ball gets the Twins on the board 2-1. And this one to right field. That'll drop in front of J.D. Martinez. And the tying runs on with nobody out.
Yeah, I don't think the Orioles are playing today. Or are they playing tonight? Well, I don't. Yeah, they're playing Boston, and I don't know if Trombo hit one, but Dozier now tied with Trombo for the American League lead.
Max Kepler went down swinging his first time up.
We're just told that Trombo hit his 42nd tonight. And Baltimore has a 1-0 lead thanks to his home run.
Outside to Kepler. Orioles and the Blue Jays each a couple games ahead of the Tigers and the Yankees. Kepler with a foul to the screen. Yeah, don't go to sleep on the Mariners yet. They're 2.5 games back in the wild card race.
Yeah, they're currently on a 7-game winning streak. And they're playing the Angels tonight in Anaheim.
One and one, and Kepler fouls it over the screen. 1-2. Kepler hit one of his biggest home runs here. Last series the Twins played here, a day game series finale against Francisco Rodriguez. Up high, and it's 2-2. Inside, full count. McCann's got a really good arm. Polanco runs well. I don't know that the Twins will be too eager to send the runner here, given Sanchez's ability to strike people out.
Yeah, he can strike out people, but 21 stolen bases against him this year in 28 tries. So there goes Polanco.
And it's ball 4. Well, Sanchez with pinpoint control until he had to pitch from the stretch. He ends up walking the next batter. 2 aboard now for Vargas. Carsoup.com trivia question tonight. Who holds the Twins record for most career games with 3 or more hits? Well, there are 3 names that jump out at me. I'll take Rod Carew.
I'll take Tony Oliva.
Kirby Puckett might be on that list as well, but Vargas called out on strikes his first time up. Ground ball, base hit right field. Polanco to third. They'll wave him around. Martinez with a throw to Cabrera, and the Twins have tied it up. The first 4 batters have reached here in the 4th inning.
Wow, how quick that tide can turn. Sanchez threw only 32 pitches to get 9 outs in the first 3 innings. 9 up, 9 down, and here a home run by Dozier. And then a base hit, a walk, and Vargas jumping on that first pitch. And picking up an RBI, his 15th of the year, and the game is tied as Polanco scores from second base.
See teams do it from time to time, and Kyle Gibson referenced it in his interview with us in the 2nd inning, how the Tigers seem to change their approach every time through the order. And while the Twins were patient in the 1st inning, as much as Sanchez's strike throwing would allow them to be patient, more of an ambush mode here. Dozier jumped on the first pitch, homered. Vargas with an RBI single to tie the game on the first pitch. And now Suzuki. Suzuki was the first Twin to put the ball in play A 3-hopper to the shortstop Iglesias. That is just foul wide of the third base bag. Suzuki went after the first pitch.
Well, you know that you got the guy on the mound doesn't walk a lot of batters over his career. He's going to, throw strikes. Sanchez coming at him, but right now the Twins are beating him.
Tigers got activity in their bullpen already. One strike. A deep drive to left field, and Suzuki with a 3-run bomb.
Almost the same pitch he threw to Dozier. Kurt Suzuki, home run number 8 on the year. And the Twins take a 5-2 lead by putting 5 runs on the board here with nobody out in the top of the 4th inning.
Suzuki came into the game 5 for 11 against Sanchez, and he cranked the no-doubter to left.
Yeah, almost the same pitch that Dozier hit.
Fox Tracks presented by Ram, and it's a 5-2 Twins lead. And now, Eduardo Escobar. Big swing and a miss with Escobar going after the first pitch. To short center. Maben coming in, and he made that tougher than I think it looked. Yeah. One down.
Maybe got a late jump right there, but his speed helped him slide and catch that ball.
Looked like in his attempt to get his uniform dirty, he almost dropped the ball. Ended up picking it up with his bare hand. One down, and now Grossman. Alex Wilson warming up. You didn't have it happen to you too often, but you're sailing along. Sanchez, 3 perfect innings, and then it's like somebody slams your fingers in a car door.
I mean, you can almost see, you saw the smile on his face kind of smirk like when he hung that curveball to Dozier. It was like, oh, I made a mistake, but then he kind of maybe lost concentration, something. Polanco's base hit, he walked Kepler. Vargas's jumped on that first pitch, and then Suzuki's 3-run home run.
Half swing and a strike to Grossman. 1-2. Grossman with a fly to center his first time up. Already 2 home runs for the Twins. Both of them here in the 4th inning.
183 now on the year.
Over the screen. Dozier homered, Suzuki homered. And Grossman with some degree of disapproval to Carlos Torres. It's the 4th time Torres has rung up a Twins batter on strikes, and we're only in the 4th inning. Join Fox Sports North and the Minnesota Wild for the breakaway 10K, 5K, and 1-mile run Saturday, September 24th, benefiting the Herb Brooks Foundation. All participants receive a t-shirt and are qualified to win 2 sweet tickets for the Wild Jets game Sunday, October 8th. For more info, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar. 1-0 now to Schaefer. 8th man to bat this inning. Schaefer had a good at bat, finally grounded out to Cabrera. A long at bat, we should say. 1-1. Another called strike. 1-2.
Well, he's got a generous strike zone, so maybe that's why the Twins are attacking here.
Don't want to get to 2 strikes because they don't let you go up there with a canoe paddle.
Can sitting inside. And there's strike 3.
2 more strikeouts for Sanchez, but 2 more home runs for the Twins. A 5 spot in the 4th. First, Kurt Suzuki's 8th, a 5-run inning for the Twins, and now a big inning for Tyler Duffy, Justin Upton in the box to get things started. There are times within a game, but within a pitcher's career, where they need to tighten the belt a notch and just get it done.
After your team puts 5 on the board, you have a 3-run lead. You have to get those guys back on the bench as quick as possible.
Breaking ball, missing it. It's 2-0. .63 pitches, 45 strikes, but now a 2-0 count to Justin Upton. And a strike. Upton was really swinging it, and then he hurt himself, had to come out of the ball game early 2 nights ago. Back in the lineup tonight. He struck out swinging his first time up. Left calf is the injury. 3-1.
Duffy has not walked anybody yet. 4 strikeouts.
Upton, McCann, and Romine here in the Detroit 4th. And a leadoff walk. Duffy had a 1-2-3 third inning, and now he's got a 3-run lead. He'll face McCann with a man aboard and nobody out. In its own way, the 4th inning was the inning of truth for Kyle Gibson last night. He had some control issues, filled the bases, and got Jared Saltalamacchia to end the inning, and the Tigers never really threatened after that. And now Duffy will try to get tonight's Tiger catcher after a walk.
Well, 14 double plays behind Duffy so far.
There's that breaking ball over the outside corner. McCann pushed a single to right. 2 seeing eye singles after the second out that inning scored him with Detroit's second run. One and one. Two and one. Duffy given a lead. think he's got a home plate umpire that wants to call strikes. But 6 misfires already here in the bottom of the 4th. Two and one. Swing and a miss. A dribbler in the grass, barehanded. Good play by third baseman Eduardo Escobar. 1 out with Upton going to second. Nice play by the third baseman. Let's check in with Audra Martin.
Well, guys, besides Tyler Duffy's fastball control that you talked about earlier, the other thing Paul Molitor touched on was his emotions. You know, it's no secret that Duffy is an emotional guy, but Molitor says that is something that he still has to learn to control a bit. Can that fire be a good thing? Of course it can, but it's all about balance. He said Duffy has a tendency to let it creep in mid-inning, you know, after a pitch isn't executed or after a play isn't made, like what we've seen so far in this inning. It's those situations that he says he has to learn to turn the page quickly and then regroup if he needs to in the dugout later. But a situation like this is when Paul Molitor is going to be keeping an eye on and how Duffy is able to control those emotions when things aren't necessarily going his way.
Audra, thank you very much. We kind of saw that in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Duffy came off the mound and kind of yelling at himself. He almost heard it from here.
And now he falls behind Romine 2-0.
You want to be competitive, but you also want to have that under control.
Well, he's fallen behind all 3 batters here in the 4th inning. And a base hit up the middle. Upton rounds third, heading home. And the ball comes through. The run will score.
Well, good strong throw right there by Buxton, but Upton just sliding in before Suzuki could make the tag. You fall behind, you have to come in with a fastball. Romine picking up just his 14th RBI of the year, taking that ball right back up the middle. And Upton got a pretty good jump.
Not running.
Kicking it in a little bit more and slides across the plate safely.
So Iglesias comes to the plate as the tying run now. The leadoff walk comes around to score. Iglesias had a great at bat, ended up getting pushing a ground ball base hit up the middle in the 2nd inning.
Tigers don't run much. They have 55 stolen bases on the year. They've been caught 25 times, but Romine is for 7 for 7 in stolen base attempts.
And they get me over breaking ball, strike 1.
Duffy, pretty good move toward home plate, pretty quick. Only a couple stolen bases and 3 attempts off of him.
Bunt attempt, strike 2.
Those leadoff walks always seem to come back and haunt you.
AT Chagua getting loose in the 4th inning. Tigers activated their bullpen in the 4th inning. Slow bouncer. And Polanco rifles his throw to Vargas, 2 away, and Romine goes to second. Everything that's been hit has been put right into the ground. A couple of nice plays by the left side of the infield. Love Your Melon Night, September 22nd. A limited number of special ticket packages, including game ticket and Twins Love Your Melon beanie. Every ticket sold supports Love Your Melon's program to give a hat to every child battling cancer in the United States. For details and tickets, visit twinsbaseball.com/loveyourmelon. That stocking cap might come in handy for the home opener next year.
April 3rd.
April 3rd, hosting Kansas City. Second time in the history of Target Field the Twins will open the season at home. Here's Kinsler to right center field. Buxton over, can't make the play, and it'll split the gap. Kepler with a retrieve. Kinsler wants third base, and he's got it. And it's a 5-4 ball game. It's the third time in this series Buxton has just missed making a diving catch in one gap or the other.
There's so much room here at Comerica Park, and Buxton, yeah, he's got the speed, but he tried to make the great catch right there. Kinsler gets his third hit of the ball game, a double, an RBI single, now an RBI triple. And Buxton, good effort right there, but the ball got by him all the way to the wall.
Well, the tying run at third, 2 down, and here's Maben. So the 3-run lead didn't last long. It's down to a 1-run lead. Maben doubled in a run in the first, struck out on a foul tip in the second. Strike one.
Yeah, for Kinsler, his second run batted in the ball game, his 4th triple of the year.
A home run short of the cycle, and we're just in the 4th inning. Backhanded by Suzuki, 1-1. Kinsler sitting on a breaking ball, much like Dozier and Suzuki were sitting on breaking balls.
I'm going to say he has not pitched inside at all, so these Tiger hitters, they're going to make the adjustment, and they're just going to reach out and hit the ball the other way.
2-1, and I'm not so sure that if Duffy loses Maben that he'll have a chance to pitch to Cabrera. Two. Well, what do we know? We spent, what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes in the open of our show talking about how to have any success, you got to control the 3, 4, and 5 batters for Detroit. They're 0 for 6, and everybody else is taking batting practice.
Well, maybe you worried too much about 3, 4, 5, 6.
2-2. Backhanded nicely by Suzuki, and that saved the runner from scoring.
Well, and this is what we have seen from Duffy. Again, over his last 3 starts, covering a total of 11 2/3 innings. He gave up 13 earned runs. Watch Suzuki right there. We've seen this way too many times from Duffy. And Suzuki again sitting away.
Driven to center. It'll tie the game. Maben can fly. Buxton cuts it off, and Maben wants a triple. Back-to-back triples in a tie game.
Not one time in this ball game did Tyler Duffy go hard in on any right-handed hitters. So curveball away, fastball away. And they're just going to be swinging at it, exactly what the Tiger offense did here against Tyler Duffy. And Paul Molitor making the move to the bullpen.
Tie game at 5. Cabrera will hit against JT Chargois. admit this was the most disappointing inning of his whole season. Just given a 3-run lead, to walk the leadoff batter, and then you can't even get through the inning.
Again, you know what? He got away with some pitches early in the ball game. They did just score a run in the first, a run in the second, but not one time did he pitch inside.
JT Chargois will face Miguel Cabrera in a tie game, maybe the third with 2 away.
Chargois pitched here on Monday night. He had a very good inning, threw only 9 pitches, 6 for strikes in the Twins' 4-2 loss, but ended up getting a hold, his first major league hold.
Cabrera's 0 for 2, a bouncer to second and the fly to right. Down and away, ball 1. In the inning, a walk, a single, and 2 triples.
This might be the first time we've seen Chargois this early in the ball game. Usually we see him late in the ball game.
The other night he came in to start an inning, popped up fouling out of play. And again, these are all little mini tests, quizzes for Chargois in terms of what he'll be able to handle. Now it's only the 4th inning, but it feels later than that.
Chargois worked the 6th inning after Irvin Santana here on Monday night.
1-1 to Miguel Cabrera. Guy over the last 10 years probably been the best hitter in baseball, and you come into a tie game with the go-ahead run at third. 1-1. And a bad swing and a foul ball. 1-2. The last few tests, like the 6th inning 2 nights ago, Chargois passed the test with flying colors.
Yeah, last 5 outings he's put up 0s on the board, just 1 walk in 4 1/3 innings with 3 strikeouts.
1-2 to Cabrera. Base hit right field. The Tigers take the lead.
Again, a pitch away.
All 6 runs charged to Tyler Duffy, and the Tigers are back in front.
Cabrera picking up RBI number 90 on the year. And for some reason, Kurt Suzuki doesn't want to call anything inside. You can see where that ball is, probably, 6 inches off the plate. But Cabrera just reaching out, as he did in batting practice. I told you, he worked on that a lot, just taking that ball the other way.
And Victor Martinez, who has struck out twice, will hit now. Plate, ball 1. Seen a lot of Chargois' slider. We haven't seen an abundance of fastballs in his outing. Martinez struck out twice on Tyler Duffy's breaking balls. No, a fastball misses 2-0.
Yeah, here on Monday night, Victor Martinez was the first hitter that Chargois faced, and he hit a fly ball to center field for an out.
To left, center, and deep. And finally, the 3rd out. Schaefer makes the catch. The Tigers answer a 5-run top of the inning with 4 of their own.
hereby circled. And Twin fans, don't forget at Twin home games, you bring your Circle Me signs. And if you get circled, you may find yourself in a Minnesota Lottery winner circle where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Byron Buxton will lead off the fifth against Anibal Sanchez. Buxton takes an off-speed pitch over strike one. Buxton called out on strikes his first time up. One and one. Tigers.
Sanchez getting a little reprieve right here because of that fourth inning. He gave up 4 hits and 4 runs. Excuse me, 5 runs. And now the Tigers come right back and give them the lead again.
Up high, not by much, 2-1. Tigers are boxed into a corner a little bit because they got a short start last night. And they're going to have Mike Pelfrey on a 60-pitch limit tomorrow. Over for a strike, 2-2. And so Sanchez, who looked over his shoulder and saw Alex Wilson warming up in the 4th inning, gets the reprieve, and they'd love it if he could get through this inning. 2-2. Full count with Dozier on deck. Foul back. Buxton's first swing of the at-bat. Buxton, the only man who didn't bat in the 5-run 4th inning. Foul back again. Two from Sanchez to Buxton. Checked his swing, took a walk. So, want to blame Duffy for walking the leadoff man in the bottom of the 4th. Point your finger at Sanchez for walking Buxton. Let's go to Audra Martin.
Well, guys, Brian Dozier lucked out the other night when his 40th home run landed in the bullpen because he didn't have to work very hard to get that ball back. The next day, that ball was in his locker. He was sitting next to another somewhat special baseball. Back when he hit number 25, which was also career number 100, Eduardo Escobar didn't know if they'd be able to get that baseball back. So just in case, he went and found a random ball, wrote number 25 on it along with the pitcher's name, and he left it in Brian Dozier's locker. Well, he's been doing that ever since that 25th home run, and it's become a tradition that Brian has grown to love. He actually has kept every single one of those baseballs. He has a big pile of them at his house. So now tonight he'll have one with number 41 waiting for him in his locker when he gets done with this game, guys.
Yeah, Escobar, one of the clowns on the ball club. He has a great time.
Dozier teed off in the first pitch of the 4th inning and hit his 41st, and the Twins went on to score 4 more. Buxton flushed back to the bag.
Again, there have been 21 stolen bases in 28 attempts against Sanchez. Buxton 9 stolen bases in 10 attempts.
And that's with many times McCann, one of the best arms in the business, behind the plate. And Dozier cracks one down into the corner. Buxton flies around second. The ball goes to the corner. That gets Buxton home, and we've got a tie game. Brian Dozier with a home run in the 4th and now a game-tying double in the 5th. And Brad Ausmus can't get out of the Tiger dugout quick enough.
And already pointing to the bullpen, Brad Ausmus and Brian Dozier. Couple runs batted in here tonight, now with 96 on the year. Fastball came running back in on Brian, opens up quickly, line drive into that corner, and the speed of Buxton as Upton has to retrieve that ball, get it back in. Buxton scores a tying run.
And again, Duffy's problems in the 4th started with a leadoff walk, and eventually the leadoff walk in the 5th sends Sanchez to the showers. Dozier play baseball this summer. 2017 season tickets are on sale now. You can choose from a full season, partial season, or the ever popular flex plan. All season ticket packages include membership in Sweet Spot, the Twins season ticket benefits and rewards program. You can go to twinsbaseball.com or call 612-375-7454 for more information. Alex Wilson will pitch for the Tigers.
I say, with the short starts of both starters, going to put a lot of pressure on that bullpen. Alex Wilson coming in his second season with the Tigers, making his 56th relief appearance. 3-0 out of that bullpen. Very good. 2.95 earned run average.
Buck Farmer was done for the series after his lengthy performance last night. Polanco bunts it foul. Brad Ausmus said before the game today that Mike Pelfrey will be limited to about 60 pitches tomorrow. So Tigers hurting in their pitching department. Gene Lamont in the foreground. Sanchez having a very difficult time the second time through the batting order. One strike to Polanco. Swinging a foul, 2 strikes. Polanco called out on strikes in the first, and then he singled and scored in the fourth.
Got a report on Alex Wilson, 29 years old, a fastball, very good slider. He'll mix in a curveball and a changeup, all 4 pitches. Walker just making a little contact here.
Took it inside.
It's a breaking ball right there. Wilson has 44 strikeouts in 64 innings pitched, only 19 walks, and 5 of those intentional. He tells you he's around the plate.
Side. Polanco's proven to be a pretty good contact hitter, at least by today's standards. About a strikeout every 6.5 times at bat. So many hitters come up here. Sano and Buxton very strikeout prone with their first exposure to major league pitching. Polanco's done a nice job putting the ball in play. 3-2.
And a good take right there by Polanco.
Kepler on deck.
One thing Polanco has, very quick bat. You know, you have Sano, who has that. I mean, it takes him a while to get going. He swings very wild. And Polanco just, he knows what his role is right here. Try to move Dozier over to third.
Full count. Nobody out here in the 5th.
Polanco right on top of the plate.
And a fly ball center field. That'll chase Maben back. He makes the catch. And Dozier will go to third. Polanco fell behind. Paul Molitor before the game talked about Polanco. How he seems to like being in the moment, and he shows plate discipline, and we saw some of that in that plate appearance.
The 2-2 pitch, that was a little bit low. He took, made Wilson come in with a fastball, and he hit it deep enough to advance Brian Dozier. So high fives are all around for Polanco.
Dozier 90 feet away from scoring his 100th run. The Tigers will bring the infield in for Kepler. He has struck out swinging and walked and scored. And now Max is up with a chance to put the Twins right back in front. Up high, ball 1. Tigers out hitting the Twins 9-5, but the Twins have tied the game here at 6. We're just in the 5th inning. Inside 2-0. Wilson's thrown 8 pitches and just 3 strikes. outside corner. 2-1. Chopper to Kinsler. Dozier can't score. 2 down. And that'll bring up Vargas.
Oh, big out for Wilson right there. Kepler beating it into the ground with the infield in. Not a good at bat.
Vargas called out on strikes in the second. Singled in the tying run in the fourth. Jumped on the first pitch and hooked a line drive into right field. Big swing by Vargas. 1 strike. In the 5th inning, the Twins have 6 runs on the board. They're playing tonight without Rosario, Sano, and Mauer, which gives people like Kenny Vargas a chance to get some at bats in a September game. Twins would love to get Dozier in for the go-ahead run. 1-1. Two and 1. Wilson with 13 pitches, 6 strikes. He has managed to get Polanco and Kepler out. But now he's put Vargas into a hitter's count. Driven to the left field corner. Upton is there for the catch. The Twins get a leadoff walk and an RBI double from Dozier, and we're tied at 6. And tonight's fans of the game brought to you by Mountain Dew. Tired of all the run scoring? Honestly, we got 12 runs on the board, 14 hits. How can you not off in a game like this? JD Martinez will bat against JT Chargois. And now 2-0. Martinez with 2 ground ball outs to the left side. Swing and a miss, 2-1.
Good slider right there by Chargois in a fastball situation. Chargois' longest outing that came in Game 1 back on August 11th when he worked 2 2/3 innings against the Houston Astros. Might be asked to go deeper than just this inning if he can have a clean inning here.
Just off the outside corner, 3-1. Duffy walked Upton leading off the 4th, and the Tigers ended up scoring 4 times. It'll be JD Martinez, Justin Upton, and James McCann here in the 5th inning in a tie game. '96, and he blew it by Martinez.
Yeah, power against power right there with that big swing by Martinez. Does he do it again?
Breaking ball skied to center.
Best place here.
Buxton with the catch, 1 away. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by the Silver Bullet Coors Light. Best winning percentage, season winning percentage in the Minnesota-Detroit series. Twins in '88 after beating the Tigers in the '87 playoffs, won 11 of the 12 games. This year the Tigers have turned it around some. Here is Upton with 1 down. Strike on the outside corner. Upton struck out in the 2nd, got the leadoff walk from Duffy. That was the beginning of the end for Duffy in the 4th inning. Fastball just off the plate, but again, plenty of heat. We've seen consistently 96, an occasional 97 or 98 from Chargois.
Yeah, basically fastball, hard slider. Not too many off-speed pitches. No, not too many changeups.
Ooh, where was it? Where was that pitch? Fox tracks. Where was that pitch?
Let's see what your Fox track says.
2-1.
Fox track says it was a strike.
And now 3-1. Chargois, Cajun from Louisiana.
Good 3-1 slider right there. Yeah. Chargois out of Rice University, signed by the Twins in 2012. Twins #2 pick in the 2012 draft.
Full count to Upton. 18 pitches for Chargois, 9 strikes, 9 balls.
Wanting a change up here.
Wow.
Nice pitch.
On 3-2. 2 down.
I think that's the first changeup I saw him throw, and it came at the right time.
Wow.
Very, very nice pitch by Chargois.
On 3-2. Very nice. 2 down. And now here's James McCann.
Chargois picks up his first strikeout.
I guess with the open opportunity so many pitchers have had this year, particularly in the second half, as some relievers have been traded, released, been hurt, whatever. This guy seems to be more determined than others to grab the brass ring and take advantage of the opportunity he's been given here.
You know, he made his first major league appearance back in June, and that didn't go too well against the Boston Red Sox. They optioned him back to AAA, and he came up again in August. You know, August wasn't the best of month, but I think he's gotten better and better. He's, I think, starting to take a deep breath and enjoy his time here. You know, sometimes, again, you see young kids. We've seen it from Jose Barrios. You know, Duffy, same thing, kind of the sophomore jinx for Duffy. But sometimes it takes time. You want to impress. And you start overthrowing, and now all of a sudden here it is, his 18th major league appearance. And the last 4 or 5 have been outstanding. Barrios will start on Friday night again in New York against Bartolo Colon.
2 strikes to McCann. And a strikeout. And Chagua featuring his off-speed stuff. And having a 1-2-3 5th inning onto the 6th, tied at 6. Coming on one swing of the bat by Kurt Suzuki.
Yeah, he got a breaking ball from Sanchez and clobbered it into the left field seats for a big 3-run home run. The 5-run 4th inning for the Twins, highlighted by that 3-run home run. Suzuki's 8th home run of the year.
Suzuki will lead off the 6th. Then Escobar and Grossman facing Alex Wilson. This will be the 17th game in a row where a Tiger starter will not get a win. And here they are contending. 10 games above 500. Isn't that a long run?
That is a very long run.
For a contending team? 1-0. Swing and a miss, 1-1. And especially when you got a couple of studs like Verlander and Fulmer.
Right.
Tigers don't care at this point. They just need a win. One and one to the Twins catcher. Sharply hit, scooped by Romine. Andrew Romine is just a good ball player. 1 down. And that'll bring up Escobar. Sanford Health Injury Report. Josh Donaldson slumping in part because of a bad hip. He had an MRI today, and there are people holding their breath with the Blue Jays because he kind of makes that team go. And Aaron Judge left with a right oblique strain. He's done for the year.
Yeah, Blue Jays lost to the Rays today, 8-1.
One down. Here's Escobar. You look at the wild card standings. There's strike one to Escobar. Orioles and Blue Jays leading the Tigers and the Yankees by a game and a half. Twins will have the Mariners as part of the next homestand on the back end of the homestand with the Tigers on the front end. One strike to Escobar.
Yeah, then they go to Kansas City after that. Kansas City's still a long shot.
And a bad start tonight from Yordano Ventura. One and one to Escobar. Oakland leading Kansas City 5-0. They're in the 5th inning in Kansas City. Baltimore hanging on to a 1-0 lead in their game. 1-2 to Escobar.
And McCann going back inside.
Flip behind third. Oh, what a catch by Andrew Romine. A sprint down the left field line and a sensational catch for out number 2.
Yeah, you just mentioned about Romine. He's just a steady player no matter where you put him, a utility type player. Nick Castellanos on a disabled list, so Romine getting some playing time. And over the shoulder catch, great concentration, all out effort. And Alex Wilson says thank you very much.
2 down, and now the designated hitter Robbie Grossman. Up and away, ball 1. Grossman 0 for 2, a fly to center. He was called out on strikes in the 4th. One and one. Pat Light is warmed up. He looks like he's going to come in and pitch to the Tigers in the 6th inning. And now 1-2.
Good slider down and in right there by Wilson. Wilson in his 2nd season with the Tigers. Originally came up with the Boston Red Sox in 2013, signed by the Red Sox out of Texas A&M. Has a clean 1-2-3 top of the 6th inning.
6 up, 6 down for Wilson in a tie game. Light in the bottom of the 6th. Major League Baseball returns Saturday. 2 big games. First on Fox. Boston Red Sox take on the Yankees at 11:30 Central. Then on FS1, it'll be the Tigers and the Indians at 2:30. We'll watch both games live on Fox Sports Go. JT Chagua with another encouraging performance. He gave up a base hit to Cabrera, and an inherited runner scored, but then he got the next 4 batters. Now the Twins are looking for an encouraging performance from Pat Light.
Yeah, Pat Light, who last worked on Sunday against the Indians, an inning and a third. He had allowed 1 hit, no runs, making his 13th relief appearance. The walks high, 11 walks in 12 innings pitched.
Romine, Iglesias, and Kinsler here in the 6th inning. And 94, a fastball, and given what we've seen from Light, that might be the last fastball that Romine sees. Light loves his split finger changeup. Bouncer to short. Back-to-back fastballs, 1 away.
First one at 94, next one at 95.
It's not how the Twins want Light to pitch, but they've seen him show the fastball and then rely on the splitter. He got Romine on 2 fastballs, and now Iglesias. Iglesias with a single in the 2nd, and he bounced to short in the 4th. Another fastball high. Straight fastball. 2-0.
Pat Light, 25 years old, coming over in the Fernando Abad trade with the Boston Red Sox.
3-0. Kinsler on deck. Iglesias saw that was ball 4 and it was right down the middle.
You can beg in this game.
Three and 1. I don't think we've seen the splitter yet, have we?
I don't believe so.
Threw 2 fastballs to Romine, and now 5 fastballs to Iglesias. They are the 8 and 9 batters. To the right field corner, chased by Kepler. He won't get there. It's a foul ball. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, Romine's batting 8th, Iglesias is batting 9th. You should challenge him, right?
Yeah, no free passes. You know, the walk that Iglesias got in the excuse me, I was looking at Buxton. Buxton walked in that number 9 spot.
Right.
He scored on Dozier's double.
Kepler comes in.
Might have swung at ball 4, but Pat Light comes back from 3-0 and gets Iglesias out.
So 9 fastballs. And now Kinsler.
Kinsler, a double, a single, and a triple. So you know what he wants to do.
He's already done it 26 times this year. Tigers haven't had a batter hit for the cycle in more than 10 years. There's a splitter taken for a strike. Carlos Guillen, more than 10 years ago. 1 strike to Kinsler. Picked up by Escobar. Pat Light with a 1-2-3. 6th inning, on to the 7th. 6 apiece.
after 6. Here's the Grand Casino story of the game.
Well, with the Tigers up 2-0 in the 4th inning, Brian Dozier with a home run off of Sanchez, and then it was Kurt Suzuki 4 batters later. It's a 3-run home run, gives the Twins a 5-2 lead. But then here come the Tigers, back-to-back triples. Ended up tying the ball game. Kinsler and Maben, those coming off a Duffy in the 4th inning. And then Miguel Cabrera against JT Chargois gives the Tigers a 6-5 lead, but the Twins come back in the 5th with an RBI double by Dozier, scored Buxton to tie it at 6 apiece.
Shane Green had an interesting outing here 2 nights ago. He pitched an inning, faced 6 men. No one put the ball in play.
Had 2 walks, 2 strikeouts in that inning through 24 pitches, only 11 for strikes, making his 44th relief appearance.
Schaefer the batter. First pitch hit foul. Actually, he only faced 5 men. He was given credit for an inning because he was pitching in the 7th inning. Came in to pitch. Rosario was thrown out trying to steal. Then he hit Buxton. He struck out Dozier and Grossman and walked Polanco and Vargas. Here in the 7th, it'll be Schaefer, Buxton, and Dozier. That's to short left field, cut off on the edge of the grass by Iglesias, 1 down. Buxton got hit by a green pitch. It was a fastball up and in, and got Buxton in the back of the left shoulder. Buxton looking for his first hit of this series. Has drawn a couple of walks, and then, as we said, Green hit him with a pitch 2 nights ago.
Yeah, Green, good hard fastball in the low 90s, hard slider, and a changeup. There's a slider right there for a strike.
Ryan Presley, so he'll be next up out of the Twins bullpen. 1 strike to Buxton. One and one. And another called strike. 1 and 2.
Yeah, 3 straight sliders to Buxton.
Buxton got frozen by a fastball in the 3rd inning. Was called out on strikes. Swing and a miss. 2 down. Brian Dozier today hit his 41st home run, the first Twin other than Harmon Killebrew, the only Twin other than Harmon Killebrew to reach the 40 home run mark. There's not the size disparity between the two that you might think. Now, most baseball publications list Harmon at 6 feet. That might have been generous.
Yeah.
But Harmon played most of his career around 195 pounds. Brian Dozier 5'10 and 198. So maybe we shouldn't be as surprised as we are that Dozier's hit 40. Harmon was roughly the same size as Brian Dozier, and he did it 7 times.
I know Brian's big, but Harmon just had a barrel of a chest. His arms were huge.
1 strike to Dozier.
And you saw Harmon. Harmon brought that bat back. You know, Dozier's more over his right shoulder, ready to attack. Harmon was back more. He brought those hands back almost past his body.
Yeah, away from his body. 1 and 1 to Dozier. Fouled away. Well, again, Dozier having one of the best seasons in Twins history beyond the home runs. 2 runs batted in tonight. He has 96 on the season. 1 run scored. He has 99. And if he reaches the century mark in those 2 categories, it'll be just the
9th time in Twins history. It's been done 8 times by 6 different players. 1-2 to Dozier. To center. Maben makes the catch, and Green has a 1-2-3 top of the 7th. Coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Magic number for the Cubs is 1 after their win over the Cardinals this afternoon. As we told you earlier, Mark Trumbo hit number 42, the only run of the game so far in that big game with the Boston Red Sox. And we also referenced the short start, Yordano Ventura, and the Royals are running out of time in the American League wild card race.
Well, Ryan Presley coming into the ballgame so far. Bullpen's done a good job. JT Shagwell, inning and a third, just gave up that hit to Cabrera. And then a Pat Light, a 1-2-3 6th inning. Ryan Presley making his 69th relief appearance. First time in this series he has been on that mound. He last pitched on Saturday against the Cleveland Indians, 1 shutout inning.
He'll face Maben, Cabrera, and Martinez. Maben with an RBI double and an RBI triple. Down and away, ball 1. Both bullpens have stabilized the game for their 2 clubs. Tapper to short. Polanco fires on the run, and Vargas digs out a low throw. Maben runs well, so Polanco knew he had to hurry, but a low throw dug out nicely by the big first baseman.
Very nice play by Vargas over there. Don't know if he got that right hand on that ball too, but he was kind of protecting it. Take a look right here. A little short hop in front of Vargas. Always tough for a first baseman to try to get this ball right there, the one that lands right in front of you, but Vargas able to corral it in his glove, and he had it in his right hand.
Here's Miguel Cabrera, tied the game with a single in the 4th, his last time up, ball 1. Not just the batting practice you've spoken of, but Cabrera's hits have been to center and right field in this series. And a strike over the inside corner. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, big curveball right there by Presley.
1-2.
don't think you want to throw this again to him because look at where this ball was.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. 1-2. Fouled away. And Presley with 97 miles per hour on that fastball. There are candidates now. Lots going to happen between now and opening day next year, but there are candidates for the bullpen core that'll have a lot more velocity and stuff than what we've seen in recent years. Driven to deep left center field. Off the top of the wall and gone.
Well, I just said he didn't want to throw that pitch again, that curveball, and this time Cabrera did not miss it. Second home run in this series. And that home run is 33rd of the year, gives the Tigers a 7-6 lead.
Oh my God. The first one a little bit higher. That might have been why he missed it. Looked like this ball hit off the top of the fence and then over.
Right on top of the padding and then lands into the bullpen.
The Tigers are back in front, and now Victor Martinez.
For Ryan Presley, that's his 8th home run allowed.
1-0 to Victor Martinez. 2 strikeouts and a fly to left.
You know, I went out just to watch batting practice of the Tigers because I love watching guys like Cabrera and Martinez, what their routine is. And I remember when I was a player, when we played Seattle, I used to love to go out and watch Edgar Martinez hit. Just the way that they go about their business. Everything was the other way, up the middle, the other way. But then when you hang something like Presley did right there, Cabrera can hit it out. He can pull it.
Especially after he had just seen 97 and seemed like he didn't catch up to it. 2-1, and Suzuki will go to the mound to try to settle Presley down a little bit here. One batter missing in the Detroit lineup, Nick Castellanos, who's having a great year before he broke a bone in his hand. He was hitting today in a simulated game by Jordan Zimmerman. Now, both guys are pretty critical cogs for the Tigers. What do you want to have happen in those at bats? You want Castellanos to hit a home run against Zimmerman, or Zimmerman to strike him out? Drilled to right. Kepler back. Playing to Karam, and Martinez just now getting to first base.
Well, I saw Nick Castellanos after that, and he said his hand felt pretty good. So that's a good sign for the Tigers.
2 bullets hit off of Presley here in the 7th. One off the top of the wall and over, and that one almost stuck on the wall. It was hit so hard.
Don't know if that was a changeup. See where it hits high off the wall, and Martinez still, it's kind of like Fenway Park. You leave your mark there. Wow, I put a lot of those dents in that wall in Fenway.
J.D. Martinez will bat. Presley hoping to get out of this inning with no more damage done. It's a 1-run ball game. Saw Bruce Rondon warming up in the Tiger pen. Twins have been out hit here tonight, 11-5.
Yeah, not a lot of men left on base by either club. The Twins have only left 1 on base. The Tigers only 4 coming into this inning.
Two strikes to J.D. Martinez.
Very high.
96, eye high. Michael Tonkin getting loose. The Twins emptying out the right side of the bullpen here. Chagua, Light, Presley, and now maybe Tonkin will pitch next. Fouled back. Twins haven't been able to outslug the Tigers yet this year. The 3 wins that they have all 3 been here at Comerica Park, and in those 3 Twins wins, the Tigers scored a total of 4 runs. So if the Twins win this game, it'll be the first time they've legitimately outscored them in a slugfest. Martinez strikes out, 2 down.
Yeah, breaking ball down and away, and Presley picks up a strikeout.
You can follow Twins baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Customize at bat to feature the Twins. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Plus, subscribe to At-Bat Premium to get the MLB.TV game of the day, radio broadcasts, in-game highlights, enhanced game day features, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
Very good. I think you can go quicker.
Strike 1 to Upton. He has struck out twice, walked and scored. One of the areas of concern for Upton is, of course, the left calf, but it is a leg injury on a team that already has a couple of very slow runners in the middle of the lineup. Well, Miguel Cabrera doesn't run well. Martinez, if Kepler had spun and fired, he might have had a play at first base on the line drive off the fence in right. Last thing they need is Upton to be slowed for any reason. Popped up down the right field line, and Kepler waiting, drifting, and making the catch. That ends the 7th that saw Miguel Cabrera home run. Saw the Tigers retake the lead.
hope that Trumbo would hit 42 this year for the Orioles than there was Dozier hitting 41. Been a great signing for the Orioles. Bruce Rondon has had a really solid year for the Tigers, setting up Francisco Rodriguez.
Rondon worked here on Monday, 2/3 of an inning. Had a strikeout through 9 pitches, 5 for strikes. Making his 44th relief appearance.
Polanco, first man to face him, 1 for 3 on the night. Missing, ball 1. Rondon has arrested his control issues, and he has not issued nearly as many walks. Stingy with hits. It's a pretty good combo for a late inning reliever.
Well, you know, at one time when he first came up in 2013, they thought he was going to be the closer, and then he went through the Tommy John surgery. Big man, 6'3", 275. They list him at. Only 9 walks in 29 innings pitched.
And command of that pitch, which sets up that upper 90s fastball.
Good changeup right there.
1-2.
His fastball in the upper 90s. That might have been the slider.
1-2. The Polanco drives one to left center field. Upton over in the gap is there for the catch, 1 away.
Well, this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins.
Here's Max Kepler, 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Twins would like to see a strong final couple of weeks for Max Kepler.
Yeah, he's been hitless for a while, 0 for his last 12 at-bats.
The hits have come from day one, most of them to the pull side. There haven't been many hits to left field. A few, and a few more to center. And there's one to left center field, down for a hit, and Maben fires it back in. So Kepler with a 1-out single here in the 8th, and that'll bring up Vargas.
Yeah, good hitting right there by Kepler, taking the ball the other way.
CarSoup.com trivia question: the Twins' record for most career games with 3 or more hits. Rod Carew, you picked Tony O, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
214 times. Can you imagine that? That's over 600 hits just in those games. Kirby did it 208 times. Lauer's done it even more than Tony O.
And Tyrannosaurus Rex 106 times.
Vargas with a swing and a miss. A 97-mile-per-hour fastball, 1 strike. Suzuki on deck. Kepler runs okay. If Vargas can find a gap, the Twins might tie the game up here. Up and away.
Rondon just 25 years old. 3rd season with the Tigers. Again, he missed all of 2014 with the Tommy John surgery out of Venezuela.
One and one. Strike called on that breaking ball.
Yeah, good slider right there.
I suppose it's been about 10 years ago now, but the Tigers had a big burly right-hander by the name of Joel Zamaya, and he threw just if not harder than this guy. And the Twins signed him late, and then he blew out in spring training. Never did pitch for the Twins.
Well, he blew out his arm here as a Tiger tried to come back.
1-2 to Vargas.
Did it again, yeah.
And I would imagine it was in his MVP season of 2006. I can still see Justin Morneau hitting a 99-mile-per-hour fastball shoulder high
and hitting it about halfway up into the seats in right field. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Vargas gone on strikes, 2 down.
Yeah, Rondon threw that fastball 97 right past the swinging Vargas. So Rondon picks up a strikeout.
Suzuki 1 for 3, a 3-run home run.
His 37th strikeout in 29 innings pitched.
Suzuki with 2 ground balls to the left side and a 3-run home run over the bullpen down the left field line. Twins scored 5 times in the 4th inning to take a 5-2 lead, but then the Tigers answered with 4, knocked Tyler Duffy out of the ball game, and then you would like to think a 5-run top of the 4th inning would be the turning point of the game, but instead it was the 4-run bottom of the inning.
Well, that's what we were talking about. Very important inning for Tyler Duffy. Ended up being an ugly inning for him.
High and tight, only 98 miles per hour.
Now, Suzuki faced Rondon here on Monday night, and Rondon ended up striking him out. He has that high leg kick. And Kepler at first base. See if he can get a good jump or a good read. He's 5 for 5 in stolen base attempts.
McCann, strong arm catcher behind the plate. Popped up, backing out of play. He got the off-speed pitch. I think he was waiting for it, but fouled it back. It was a breaking ball that Suzuki clobbered for a 3-run home run in the 4th. Popped up, short left. Iglesias out. And the left fielder, Upton, calls him off, makes the catch. And Rondon has a scoreless 8th inning. Tonkin will try to keep it that way in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, Michael, you know, he had some time off, maybe about 10, 12 days to try to rest that elbow. I had talked to Michael today. He says he feels good, making his 3rd appearance here in the month of August. He worked here on Monday night, just a 1/3 of an inning. Threw only 6 pitches, 3 for strikes.
He'll pitch to the bottom 1/3 of the Tiger lineup, starting with James McCann, then Andrew Romine and Jose Iglesias. Tigers led early 1-0, 2-0. Then the Twins led 5-2, 6-5. Detroit tied at 6, now 7-6. And Tonkin delivers outside ball 1.
Well, here on Monday night, the only batter that Tonkin faced was McCann, and he hit a ground ball to Dozier at second.
Swing and a miss, 1-1. Right before Presley hung a breaking ball and Cabrera hammered it for the go-ahead home run. I was talking about the candidates, the arm strength, the velocity that the Twins might have in their bullpen, mainly from the right side. You know, you've got Tonkin, and you know, how would you grade his performance this year? He's had some good moments and a couple of really bad ones, but you'd have to throw him in the mix for next year, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think you do. You know, I think he's done a good job. He knows what his role is. Kind of a setup type guy. Pitched maybe 6th or 7th inning. Good slider right there. Gets McCann, but it gets away from Suzuki, and McCann will go to first base. So it's a strikeout and a wild pitch, allowing McCann to reach first.
Ball bounced on the warning track and bounced out of play, so McCann reaches on a strikeout. And then you've got Chagua and Presley, who we've seen at 97 and 98. Presley's got a good breaking ball. Chagua's shown an improved slider in his last few outings. Light reportedly can throw in the upper 90s with a splitter that seems to baffle people. That's a nice bunt rolled right up the path toward the mound, and Tonkin fields and throws. McCann goes to second, 1 down. Thursday, September 15th, it's Yoga Night at Target Field, presented by Mayo Clinic. A special ticket package includes an exclusive Twins branded yoga mat, game ticket for the Mariners series September 23rd to the 25th, and a donation to the Twins Community Fund. An hour-long yoga class in the outfield at Target Field. For more info and to purchase tickets, visit twinsbaseball.com/yoga. Now, I've done a little homework on yoga. I think I want to do the horizon position, the warrior.
Well, I walked over to that yoga shelter, it was called today, and I got a little brochure on yoga.
Okay.
It increases your flexibility, which you need.
Well, I think you do too. I mean,
yeah, me too. But increases muscle strength and tone.
I need that.
It improves energy level.
Lowers cholesterol.
Didn't say cholesterol at all in here. Reduces stress.
Okay.
Yeah. Tension.
I need that.
And anxiety.
We need that. 2 strikes to Iglesias. Big runner out there. Just a 1-run ball game. Tonkin could use a strikeout. He's got to face Kinsler in the on-deck circle.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a wild pitch. They ended up giving Suzuki a pass ball.
Oh, really?
To allow McCann to get to first base.
To short left. It'll die in front of Schaefer. The ball juggled, but Dave Clark has been pretty aggressive in the third base coach's box. Put the stop sign up for McCann, so the run doesn't score. First and third, 1 away.
Well, again, Iglesias reaching out over the plate and just pulling this ball. Again, look where this pitch is. It was down, but Iglesias too much of the plate. I thought it was a little further away. Iglesias just kind of softly hitting it to left field. And McCann, not the quickest of foot, being the catcher.
Well, look who you got hitting next. Kinsler already with 3 hits, 2 extra base hits, 2 runs batted in, 2 runs scored. Twins will try to double him up here. Kinsler's bounced into just 4 double plays this year. Nearly 600 at bats and 4 double play grounders. Short center, and that will score McCann. Iglesias to third, and the Tigers on a strikeout get a runner aboard, sacrifice him to second, and a couple of little flares into the outfield. They've got a big insurance run.
And Kinsler picking up his 4th hit of the ball game, driving in his 3rd run of the ball game. A fastball.
Cracked his bat, maybe.
Hits it softly into center field. McCann scores. And Iglesias hustling from 1st to 3rd.
And now Maben. Low, ball 1. Twins are due to send up Escobar, Grossman, and Schaefer in the 9th. They've got bench players Beresford, Centeno, Mauer, Rosario. A lot of left-handed batters. Right now, guessing they would face Francisco Rodriguez. Swing and a miss.
Well, Tonkin's already given up a run here. He needs a strikeout. Two and one.
Rodriguez warming up as we speak. Foul ball. Tonkin, the 5th right-handed reliever used in relief of Tyler Duffy, who got knocked out in the 4th inning. The strikeout for the 2nd out. And now Cabrera with runners on the corners. Every weekday morning, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sport topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Central, only on FS1. Cabrera with the go-ahead single in the 4th and the go-ahead home run in the 7th.
Well, second base is open. But then you have Victor Martinez.
Suzuki got a foul ball. I don't know if that got the chin area again. You know, he's had the lacerated chin. And this might be more of a no. Sure enough, I think they're looking at that chin again. Took, what was it, 7 stitches about a month ago, and then it got reopened a little bit a week ago. And Suzuki might have to leave the ball game, or at least get some quick butterfly bandage or something. Oh, he looks like he's done. So the Twins will have to change catchers here. He's taking his gloves off and is heading to the clubhouse. The Twins scrambling in what is apparently a re-injury to the cut chin.
Well, take a look at his reaction right here, right in the middle of the mask. Yeah, that ball's coming in at 96, 97, and then it's even quicker off the bat of Cabrera.
John Ryan Murphy will catch. And he got the gear on pretty quickly. Tonkin will give him a couple of warm-up tosses. He says once enough, I think. Let's go. Cabrera with a strike. Tonkin wants to throw one more. And now catcher and pitcher are both ready. One strike to Cabrera. Well, 1-1.
Cabrera 3 hits and 6 at-bats off of Tonkin. 2 doubles, 3 hits.
By Murphy, and another run will score. Big turn at second by Kinsler. So a couple of big insurance runs, and either a wild pitch or pass balls have led to both runs.
Yeah, Murphy going out. I don't know if he was crossed up, but this ball looked like it should have been caught or blocked.
Runners at first and third.
Well, they gave him a wild pitch. Murphy kind of backhanded that instead of trying to get in front of it. Ball got away from him.
So a pass ball put McCann aboard. Now a wild pitch allows Iglesias to score. 2-2. Cabrera got a pitch up and fouled it straight back. Obviously a ragged inning. Bottom line, at least 2 big insurance runs for the Tigers. Across his hands. Well, now a base is open. And Victor Martinez is on deck. Call third strike, and that ends the inning. But 2 runs on a couple of hits, a pass ball, a wild pitch, and it's a 3-run Tiger lead. know whether the Twins are positioned to survive back and forth games with the Tigers. That's what we've had here tonight. Now the Tigers have opened up a 3-run lead. Last night the Twins took the first lead, expanded it. That, I think, seems to be the recipe for success. And now they got to face Rodriguez with a 3-run lead. Eduardo Escobar will lead things off. Up and away, ball 1.
Yeah, Rodriguez picked up the save here on Monday, his 41st of the year.
Escobar, Grossman, Schaefer scheduled. Mauer, Rosario, ostensibly Sano available. 2-0. Twins don't want to use Sano, and I don't know that they necessarily want to use Mauer. Now Joe took some swings today, took some ground balls. Just the pitchers hit before the game today, with Joe Mauer included. And subject to his feeling okay, he might be available here in the ninth. Strike call, 2-1. The hope was he would go through a more regular routine of activity and that his quadricep would allow him to be in the lineup tomorrow.
Yeah, Rodriguez worked here on Monday night, 1 inning. He threw 19 pitches, only 9 strikes. He had a couple walks in the inning.
Driven to center. Maven going back. Still going back. And again, a lot of room out there in the run. 1 down here in the ninth. Time now for What's Next, brought to you by CenturyLink. We will not be televising tomorrow's game, but former Twin Mike Pelfrey asked to make the start. Jordan Zimmerman trying to work his way back from an injury, and Hector Santiago's pitched pretty well as of late. He hopes to continue that against the Tigers tomorrow.
Yeah, Pelfrey spent some time on a disabled list, over a month with a lower back strain.
There's Robbie Grossman. Missing down and away, ball 1. And now a strike. That's about it for Rodriguez in terms of his velocity. Upper 80s now. Popped up near second base. Now into short center field, and Maven makes the catch, 2 down.
Well, he's done it with not a good, not an overpowering fastball. The fastball he once had with the Angels, but he knows how to pitch. I mean, changes speeds well. Good changeup right there. Gets Grossman to pop up.
Logan Schaefer trying to keep the game alive for the Twins. On the outside corner. Schaefer 0 for 3. Ground ball, strikeout, pop up. One and one. If Schaefer keeps the game alive, Buxton would hit next. Two and one. Dozier with a home run and a double tonight. Unless things dramatically change, it won't be enough again tonight. Chopper to second. Easy play for Kinsler. And the Tigers back in the win column after the Twins thumped them pretty soundly last night. Twins score 6 tonight, but not nearly enough.
We've seen this too many times where the Twins offense has scored a lot of runs, but the pitching staff, especially the starting staff, unable to help the Twins win a ball game.
Anthony, the Twins handed Tyler Duffy a 3-run lead in the 4th inning, but the lead and Duffy never survived the bottom of the inning.